Hello everyone, Yanni Plays here. With the release of 1.17 and the addition of copper, it becomes more important to have a honey farm that actually produces bottle and wax. What you see behind me is a farm that you can switch a lever and change if your farm is producing bottles or if you're producing honeycomb. What you need to build this farm is 2 dispensers, 2 sticky pistons, 6 hoppers, 1 lever, 14 redstone dust, 3 redstone torches, 2 comparators, 1 repeater, a chest, and some building blocks. I have different color building blocks so that I can demonstrate the 2 different circuits that we are going to build. The whole farm is 3 blocks wide. However, you are not able to tile the farm, so you have to have 1 air gap in between. I already prepared a few things. What I put down is a nest or a hive facing to a grass block, and the grass block has a flower on top. Around it, I put glass so I can see how my bees are working. Make sure that you have at least 2 bees in your nest or in your hive so that you can feed them a flower and breed them up to 3. On top of the flower, I put a building block. I also went ahead and already excavated a hole. The hole, as you can see, is on one side of your honey farm and it is 3 blocks deep. Also, right underneath the nest, I have 2 blocks of air, and right next to it, I excavated another block to be able to bring our resources out. To get started, we are going to put our dispensers on each side of the nest, facing into the nest. Behind the dispensers, we are adding 3 blocks, and in between 3 more that we have a V shape. Before we build anything on the top, let's finish the bottom part with the hoppers to bring our material out. We are having 1 hopper coming out of the nest that is going to suck up the honeycomb. Underneath one of the dispensers, we are going to place a hopper. However, this hopper cannot face straight down, so we are placing a temporary block where this hopper is going to face into. Next, let's set up our output. I'm putting 2 chests here. Later on, those chests will be replaced with more hoppers to go to a central storage. We are going to run a hopper line into this chest. And we also connect the hopper coming from the dispenser. Let's revisit the hopper situation. Under the dispenser, you have a hopper that is facing away. Right underneath, you have a hopper that goes into the line that is feeding into your storage system. Underneath the nest, behind this block, you have a hopper that faces straight down and then goes into the feed line to your storage unit. Next, let's build the filter system. For this, at our bottom hopper, we're putting 2 blocks, then 1 down diagonal, 1 down here at the bottom, and 1 right here. Next, we need to take one of our redstone torches and put it right underneath this hopper here. In this gap here, we are having a repeater on a standard tick, facing towards the redstone torch. On top, we are going to place a comparator coming out of the hopper. And behind it, we have 2 pieces of redstone. Next, let's set up our filter. In this top hopper, we are going to put 18 blocks that are not going into the system. So I just used the 3rd blocks that I had from the excavation and 1 honey bottle. Now let's test if our filter works, and while this drains through, I'm going to explain how exactly this filter works. So we put our honey bottles in, you can see they drain out. You can see the redstone circuit was lighting up, and now all of our items are in this chest. So how exactly does that work? So the honey bottles are being pulled into this hopper, and since we have one honey bottle in here and everything else is filled with 18 blocks of a filter material, only the honey bottles are going to drain in and a glass bottle will stay in a dispenser. Since this hopper here is not facing straight down, that means that the items cannot be pushed out. They have to be pulled out by this hopper here. However, this hopper currently is locked because it's powered with this redstone torch. Now, when we have more than 19 items in this hopper here, the 18 filter blocks and the one honey bottle, then it is enough for this comparator to output a signal strength of 2. And once we have a signal strength of 2, that means that down here, this signal of 0 is going to switch to 1, what powers the block underneath, and our repeater then is powering this block. If this block is powered, it is going to turn off this torch. So as soon as this redstone torch down here turns off, it unlocks this hopper here, and the items are going to be sucked out from this hopper. Since the honey is in the very first slot, this is going to be sucked out first until we are down to one bottle again. What means that this comparator then is updating the signal strength and the redstone torch is turning back on. Now let's build the upper part from this farm. First, we need a comparator coming out of our nest. This comparator then goes into a line, coming back like a T. Next, we are going to place 2 blocks right here. We need this block so that we can bring our redstone signal up. If we would leave it down, it would just connect with the redstone dust down here. Next, we connect them down here, and we are powering both of those dispensers. Now, the last part that we have to do is to make sure that just one of those 2 dispensers is being powered at any given time. The easiest way to do that is with sticky pistons. So the sticky piston is going to interrupt the signal here. That means the block is currently in a down position. Here is when the block will be in the up position. And then above that, we are going to have our sticky piston. So I put some temporary blocks up so that we can place our sticky pistons. One goes on this side and one goes on this side. Again, to count, we have the piston, we have the block, then we have an air gap before we go down into our T. Let's remove those temporary blocks. Here is a side view of the pistons. On top of the block that is covering our flower, we are putting a building block. This can be any block as long as it is a full block and it is a non-transparent block. This is the block that has the lever in front of it. On top of it, we put a redstone torch. On top of the torch, we are putting another concrete block. And another redstone torch on top. From the lower torch, we are now building a staircase up to the piston. And on the other side, we are building a staircase down. Now let's connect the redstone dust. The staircase that goes down goes to one piston, and the staircase that goes up goes to the other piston. If you now switch the lever, it should extend one piston and retract the other one. If you flip it again, it should do the opposite. Now the only thing left to do is to put our shears and our glass bottles in. On the dispenser that does not have a hopper underneath, we are putting in our shears. And on a dispenser that has the hopper underneath, we are putting in our glass bottles. Now, if the lever is in the up position and this piston here is retracted, that means that this line is active and that the honey bottles are active. If we switch it around, it is activating this line over here. It is using the shear, and we already have our first honeycomb sheared into this chest. I hope this tutorial helped you building your switchable honey farm. If so, please leave a like. If you have any questions, put them down in a comment. And if you would like to see more videos like this one here, please go ahead and subscribe. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like my content anymore. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.